Hi, my name is Arav Chandak.
I'm Koshik. Arnav, we're going to be talking about human perception. So, Arnav, what is human perception?
Human perception is basically like the perception of the five senses. Basically, trying to understand sight, sound, smells, uh, touch, and taste.
All right. So I read somewhere that every person they perceive light differently. So, like what I see as red, you could see as like blue, and you would learn it as blue, but it would actually be red.
Well, that's usually a common misconception because what usually happens, like people have studied eyes and they look pretty similar in those ways.
Okay.
But
So
some
everyone's
people, some people do perceive light differently.
like colorblind people.
Yeah,
How does color blindness work? Like, because I feel like that's pretty interesting because there's like different types of color blindness as well.
yeah.
Like some people are just like all gray, or some people can see like one or two colors really vividly.
Yeah, basically, what color blindness is, you can't perceive all of the colors. Well, I mean, no one can perceive all of the colors. There's an infinite amount of colors,
Right.
but they can't perceive the same amount of colors that we can.
Okay.
So,
So is it like missing receptors in the brain, or like part of the retina, or like what's actually wrong with it? Or do we just not know about color blindness, about how why it even happens?
I didn't research that much about color blindness,
Dang.
but
Okay.
basically, like they see red and blue,
Mhm.
kind of they blend together.
Okay,
Yeah,
so like that's something that someone should probably figure out why people even have color blindness in the first place,
yeah,
because that's interesting. Also, I feel like another part of human perception is like how we understand things. Like when we learn math, some people don't get it right away, some people get it right away, and they're like just talented at it naturally. And I
yeah.
feel like that's also have something to do with the brain, right? Like, so it should be like a
Um,
difference about comprehending it.
I mean, like, yeah, you're right.
Which I feel like someone should look at it and see how like person who's naturally good at math and the person who's not that good at math, and like see how like the different brain waves or whatever are like in their brain.
Usually it's not. Usually they can comprehend the same, but it's usually like how much they're paying attention in class, how much they've been studying at home. Those factors come into play a lot.
Right. A lot of people who don't like math also just like don't like goof off in class as well, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like another part I feel like would be like hearing. Like
Audio
you
perception.
can
Yeah.
like if like people in like a football game, like in the Super Bowl, the stands are like really loud, the crowds are really loud, but like they can hear their teammates and all that, so they're like kind of like muting crowd in their brain. And I feel like that's also kind of cool because your brain can like filter out what is important and what's not important.
That that's very true. That is also why autism is such a big thing. Autism is basically where you can't filter out those stuff. So then then autistic people, they do random stuff like waving their arms to
Hmm.
try to to deal with it,
Right, so it's like just overwhelmness of
Yeah,
everything.
sensory overwhelm.
Okay, so that's also pretty interesting. Another thing like I read online is um like it was like a story about a woman, she fell off a cliff while hiking, and she didn't really feel that much pain, but when she got rescued, and when she got into like the helicopter to go into a hospital, that's when she felt the most pain, which I feel like is part of adrenaline, right? Because adrenaline,
Probably, yeah.
yeah, it's your brain trying to rest, like it's a dangerous situation, right? Falling off a cliff and hurting your leg or something. So your leg, I mean your brain, it tries to minimize the pain so you can focus on survival, which is actually pretty cool because for that to like evolve like that is pretty insane to me. Because if you look at it, evolution is basically a random chance kind of thing, because it can go bad, it can go good, and we just happen to have all these like characteristics in our brain, and it's like very fascinating.
Yeah. And when the woman fell off the cliff, I feel like some people would say that why did the brain just make her feel no pain at all? The brain can do that.
Right.
But the brain wouldn't do that because then you wouldn't know, like, oh, I fell off a cliff, but it doesn't hurt at all. I'm completely fine,
Right.
right?
It's
That
kind
can't
of like
happen.
what pain basically is pain is trying to tell you that there's danger and then you can't do that again. It's like a learning process. Like
Yeah,
if you don't do your homework, you'll get punished, probably like for being grounded or not being able to play video games or something. That's your brain not
yeah,
letting you do that again. And it's like minimal because you still need to remember that it's there and you can like tackle it afterward.
yeah,
Which a lot of like there's like a lot of people in the world who can't feel pain at all,
yeah,
and I feel like a lot of people will be like, "Oh, that's great. I can fall off a bike and it wouldn't hurt anything." But you also wouldn't know, like, if you had a heart attack or something, you wouldn't know until you're dead, which is also part of the danger part of it, which is why we need to feel pain.
yeah. Pain tells you that stuff. Also, more about sight perception, about like filtering out some stuff and just kind of like what we were just talking about. Uh, there are stuff where your brain uses shortcuts
Hmm.
because they've seen it so many times. They're like, oh, this is taking too much data. I'm just going to use shortcuts.
Right. Like,
So,
can you give an example of one? All
uh,
right.
like Ruben's face.
Mm.
Ruben's face is basically there's a vase in the middle, but then instead of seeing the vase, you see the two faces on the outside.
Right.
But the thing is, they aren't actually faces.
Right.
Yeah, it's just
It's like that optical illusion kind of thing.
yeah,
Right. Another thing is like when everyone probably knows this trick. Like when you hold your thumb in front of you, like with one eye closed, and it covers something, and you open both eyes, it looks through it. It looks like you're seeing through it, but it's actually like your eyes have two different images, and the brain combines both of the images. So if you hold one up with one eye closed and it covers something, the other eye can actually see past your thumb, and that's how it looks through it, which is insanely cool. But it also looks like you have X-ray vision,
yeah.
which is insanely cool in my opinion. Which because when I was little, I used to do that, and I always felt amazed, like, oh, I can look through walls or anything, but then you can't because your other eye doesn't see past the wall, which is why you can't see through them.
And not just that, but the parts where like to help you kind of see through your thumb, it basically makes an image. Like your
Right.
brain makes an image about what would be there,
It's
which
like
is
guessing. It's like
yeah.
guessing.
And I've
Um.
tried that a bunch of times. And now, like when I was younger, and now I realize why what happened happened.
Right.
Basically, I would take an image that I already knew of, I'd put
Mhm.
my thumb up, and then I would see, oh wait,
What's
I see that
Yeah.
image
Okay.
perfectly.
All
Yeah.
right. We're about to wrap up. I've been Koshik.
And I've been Arav.
Talk to you guys later.